My name is Jill Stott, and with me here is
Jim Sparks.
Jim Sparks, Jill Stott. Yes, the J&J crew coming at you. We're going to talk about Scrum Master. What in the world is a Scrum Master, and how do you make that role super advantageous to create more value faster for your teams? And we have a special guest. He's also a host. He's an active Scrum Master. He's been there, he's done that for years. And I know he's really good at it because he told me he was. I mean, that's
See,
proof.
you listened. I
That's
love
proof
it.
positive right there. So I'm going to ask old Jimmy here, Jim Jibbo, some questions. These are called paper. All right, Jim, for our listeners here, what is a Scrum Master?
We have listeners. Awesome. I
We
didn't know
will,
that.
dang
That's
it.
good stuff right there. Well, Scrum Master is basically a member of a Scrum team, and they are, you could call them the process enforcer, the process owner. They help the team, they enable the team to work within the Scrum framework and work within that agile environment well, effectively. They help remove impediments. They, all that stuff you can look up and read. And
Just Google it. That's why
I
you're
know
here, Jim.
really, you could Google it if you wanted. A lot of times people answer this question and they just give you the Googled answer. But honestly, I look at it as the person who is there to help the team achieve their level of success, whatever that definition of success is, and to do whatever it takes to help them get there. A lot of people think, oh, you're going to schedule meetings, or you're going to, it's not just about doing things for them. It's teaching them how to do it for themselves, because that is how they're truly going to attain their level of success, is by being able to do it, become self-managing, become self-sufficient, and not rely on a Scrum Master to do that. Excellent. So I think they're a hugely important part of the Scrum team.
I like that. Like they're an enabler.
Yep.
Or a spike. I was thinking.
Oh, see, look at you wrapping it back into Agile.
See, I can't help
Is that what we're
myself.
supposed to do here? Nice.
I can't help myself. All right, so there's a Scrum Master, and why does it have such a stupid name, Jim?
We're gonna have to talk to Sutherland or one of those guys as to why it has such a goofy name. I would say it's kind of morphed into, because you are kind of a master of the process. You should be the person on the team that has the most knowledge and has the most experience, and not necessarily the most, but the most in-depth experience and knowledge of the Scrum process. In order to be able to help the team be good at it, you kind of have to be a master at it. So you're doing Scrum, you have to be a master at the process. There you go.
Well said. All right, I'll allow it. Next. All right, so I've been a Scrum Master a couple times, but I always had multiple roles. So I was a tester and a Scrum Master. So can a Scrum Master also be on the developer team?
They can. It depends on what level of success and how effective you want them to be, how stressed out you want them to be, how burnt out you want them to be, how chaotic you want the team to be. Yes, I mean, they can do it. You can have a developer who also fulfills the role of a Scrum Master. I've never seen it done successfully. I've not heard of it being done super successfully. So yes, but no.
Yeah, I stunk because they say, oh, just allocate yourself, take 20% off when we were doing our sprint planning. So I'm like, okay, I'll have plenty of time. But everything I did was focused on my day job. And the rest was just, okay, we schedule the meeting and have it. And that's like the bare minimum.
Yep.
But the magic comes with all, like you said, all that other stuff that you need to have time. I have to go talk to the product owner. I have to go argue with the development manager, whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Don't make me do it on the team, Jim. You do it for me.
Yeah, it gets gnarly when you try to do that and do it for a sustained period of time. You can't do it well.
Well said. I shouldn't yes, thank you, Jim. I'm pretending like I don't know you.
I'm not used to this level of formality, Jill.
I know, it's fun. I'm kind of doing a Letterman / Oprah thing.
Gotcha.
Hopefully
So
you'll cry at the end.
Is my
Yeah.
book under the chair here? If you're doing the Oprah thing, you're giving me a free
Wait
book of
till
some sort?
later. Don't spoil the surprise. Come on.
Sorry.
My book, my pamphlet on how to be cool. All right, Jim, I have this question asked for me quite a bit. What does a scrum master do? What's the day in the life of a scrum master? Like from day to day, what are you even doing? Just watching cat videos? What?
I'll be honest, I absolutely hate that question. And the and it's and I'll tell you why I hate that question. It's because very rarely do you see a scrum master whose day is consistent, the same, or even close to the same day after day after day after day. Every day is so different because if you're on, like I call it turnover day, which is, your end of the sprint, you're going into your sprint review, you're going into your retrospective and your sprint planning and all of that. It's usually bunched up into one day or, however. So going into that, yes, you're going to go to your sprint review. You're going to support the product owner and the team as they're demoing their value that they've created this sprint. You're going to support them in that. You're going to keep an eye on, keep track of the stakeholders. One of the things I used to do is I would always make a list of all the stakeholders that were there so that I could then help my product owner afterwards follow up. Well, we saw that, you're my key stakeholder. You've missed 3 reviews in a row. Can we help you? What can we do better for you? Going into retrospective, you're obviously facilitating the retro. You're going to help with sprint planning, whether you're the one facilitating it, whether it's your product owner or whatever. So you're going to be there. You're going to help the team prep for that, help the product owner prep for that. But beyond that, you're prepping for retros. I put a lot of time into my retrospectives. I take a lot of pride in them, getting them fun and fresh, and getting them to the point that they help the developers think about things from a different standpoint. So that takes time, so you're dedicating a lot of time to setting that kind of stuff up.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. I love that, like, very collaborative. It's collaborative.
mhm,
I'm hearing you're preparing information for a collaborative session. You're
mhm,
talking with people. You're listening to people. When I asked that question, I realized it's kind of insulting, like, just the question itself. Well, what does a scrum master do during a day? You don't ask
mhm.
that about the developers. What do you even do all day?
True.
There's an inherent, I think, some bias, like, because I don't understand this process role, and how amazing it could be. So I just
Well, and
noticed
that
that.
a lot of that falls into the fact that as a scrum master, personally, I feel, there's always a percentage of my mental energy that is spent on validating the role. It's a
Mm,
very misunderstood role, I believe. And there's a lot of time you have to spend on validating the fact that you need a scrum master. And that validation usually comes when you're not there. And they're like, oh man, the
oh,
the
yeah.
people skills and working with them and keeping the morale up, keeping the energy level up in the team. And we never really realized what the scrum master did until you weren't there anymore.
Mm,
And so I think there's a lot of that with the scrum master, and that's why you get that question a lot.
I think that's a good point. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. That
And
is so
it
true.
is true. I mean, there is some level of that. Um, Coaching the product owner, helping them understand their role, coaching the development manager, making sure that they aren't micromanaging the development team, making sure they understand the process. So you don't just say, hey, I need this done 2 days before the sprint. And it wasn't anywhere to be seen in sprint planning. So coaching them with that, helping the developers, work with third-party vendors. I mean, there's so much stuff that you do that people just don't realize.
It's a huge role, and when sometimes I'll go into an organization like, "Oh, we can't afford to have these," and I think to myself, "You can't afford not to,
Yep.
because there's 8 hours in a day, and you're paying people to do whatever it is they're doing, and do you want 50% of their time, like, trying to chase issues down, trying to have these conversations, trying to actually create culture change? That doesn't seem
Yep.
like a very wise use of your awesome people."
Well, and you also look at it from this standpoint of your developers, you want them to focus on creating the good stuff they're putting together. You don't want them up in the PMO department or up in HR making contacts and helping spread, evangelize the agile message. And you don't want them doing that.
They don't wanna do that either.
Exactly.
They
So you
hate
need
that.
someone to help that because a scrum master is not just the process, guy, girl, master for the team.
They
They also are responsible for helping change within the organization, helping support that transformative, agenda within the organization. And developers aren't going to want to do that.
Mm-mm.
And even if they
No.
are, they're usually too quiet to do it well anyway.
Plus, they're busy. All right. Last question.
Holy moly, we're flying through these.
I know, right? We like to keep things short and sweet. Oh, this could be long, though.
Uh-oh.
What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've confronted or faced as a Scrum Master?
Product owners and managers that don't understand their role within the agile world. Product owners that are working on learning their roles so that they can support the team and be good at what they're doing. Product owners that get confused between product ownership and product management, trying to help them sort through that. So those are probably some of the biggest obstacles I've seen when you get a little lower level down to the team. People constantly adding stuff in the middle of the sprint is a huge one for me. It's like, whoa, hold on, wait. Let's talk about that, because that's not fair to the developers. You've given them, they've taken on a bucket of work. They're like, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do this. It's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. And then you come in 3 days before the sprint. They're like, I know all that awesome stuff, but stop doing that. I need this instead. But I still need you to do all that too. And it's like, let's talk about that. So those are probably some of the biggest ones I run into.
I hear that a lot from teams, and it's that mindset change. The assumption is if we want more stuff done, we just keep shoving more work in it. But logically, you have diminishing returns. Less is done, quality suffers. And helping them see that for themselves. Like, you can talk till you're blue in the face explaining the problem with working that way. But until they're like, light bulb.
Yep.
Is that frustrating? Because sometimes I just want to do this, but I can't.
I agree. I'm not a huge, I'm not going to be like, no, we can't add anything else in, because that's unrealistic. But my biggest thing is the conversation. You want this done. I understand it's priority, something broke, production, whatever, but you have to understand there's a conversation. If you're saying yes to this, you're saying no to this. Accept that no. Accept the fact that you're going to put this other piece at risk, and you're okay with that. Cool. Let's go. Let's run with this.
Excellent.
That's my biggest thing. I just want to have that conversation and we're all good.
Perfect. The consequences. Know the consequences. Yes.
Absolutely.
And I heard someone told me once to say, instead of saying no, say not yet. Not yet. We will, but not yet. All right. Well, excellent. Thank you. I'm going to share some of your thoughts with the people I train as well, and a coach. So we've heard it here, Mr. Jim Sparks.
That's me.
Scrum Master extraordinaire, entrepreneur.
I got promoted today. I love it.
Lover of turtles.
I am right here. There's two of them right
turtles are cool. They are really an interesting beast.
Surprisingly, the entire family, even though they don't take care of them like they said they would, they all still come in here because they like to watch them, which is weird. So
I wanted a turtle, but when I was younger, I read the Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. And did you read that book? His little brother eats his turtle. And I'm just like, no, the emotional damage that would cause if somebody ate my turtle, it would just be too much. I couldn't take it.
Ours got out one day. I had a log leaning up I gave them a new log, and it was leaning up on the side of the aquarium. They just climbed up. And I looked down one day, and there's one sitting about 2 feet from my foot. And I'm like, oh, man, how'd you get out of there? So I found them. They're okay. No turtles were harmed in the making of this video.
Good. No worries there.
Yeah. So.
All right, everybody, let's wind this up. My name is Jill Stott and
Jim Sparks.
And thank you for watching the Jill and Jim podcast. We're still looking for a cool name, so if you have any ideas, let us know. And go thank your Scrum Masters. Go pat that person on the back, please.
They've earned it.
They've earned it. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.